way. Today was, they're having that University of California Regents meeting. Ben Bolch, who's done a great job covering UCLA along many others, the first public speaker at the UC Regents meeting supporting UCLA's move to the Big Ten said this: I find it a little bit shocking that you would expect fans, donors, and alums to look at what it meant for the campus up north. And, let's not forget when Texas and Oklahoma decided to leave for the SEC, there was a contingent from Texas Tech and TCU and Baylor and others that went down to Austin. It was a dog and pony show. Doesn't mean you couldn't get your point across. And Texas basically, and nothing ever happened from that, but it was a public meeting. There were some good things said. Nothing's changed. But they have that in California. And the first thing that is said, I find it a little bit shocking that you would expect fans, donors, and alums to look at what it meant for the campus up north. Did not even call Cal by its name.
Yeah, that's kind of an Ohio State-Michigan ripoff in a roundabout way, right? The school up north and the way that they say that constantly, especially during rivalry, you can hear that a lot. But, I don't know the minutia of this. I guess what do you call it? This meeting that they're having, I guess.
Regents, yeah. California, state of California education, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, the gist I get from it, because I'm definitely not following it closely, is that maybe they're going to be able to squeeze some money out of Cal to appease everybody. Is that kind of the gist I'm seeing?
Yep.
And then we all go about our business as scheduled, where UCLA and USC go to the Pac or go to the Big Ten, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, it looks as though. Perhaps the California system could, I guess, take some change out of the pockets from UCLA to make everybody happy enough to allow them stress-free to move on. That's kind of the way I'm reading the tea leaves. But, I'm definitely not reading any version where there's any impending threat to UCLA going to the Big Ten eventually. That's why anybody cares.
No.
They don't care about Cal's well-being really, or the money involved, I don't think. I'm sure if you're a Cal or UCLA person, you may, but I think everybody even knows this meeting exists simply because they're curious if there's a barrier to UCLA moving on to the Big Ten, and it doesn't appear as though there is. It just appears as though some Cal folks might give them a couple of slight headaches on the way out just to appear as though they are doing something. Would I be reading that somewhat correctly?
Yeah, it should be, it's making sure people realize that you care even and preaching to your choir. Here's one of the interesting notes out of this, and I was talking to Brian Etheridge on the way over here, one of the partners who's been all over the realignment in the premium section. Remember when Governor Gavin Newsom was so outspoken about this? He wasn't even there today. Now, he might have had something much more important when it comes to the state of California, or just didn't feel like it mattered. I don't know that. I'm not going to speak for him or his leadership, but he wasn't even in attendance. And this is supposed to be a chance for California, the regents, whatever, to discuss what's going on. There will be, at least a lot of the discussion will be uploaded later on today. The University of California report. Estimated loss from USC's departure for the remaining Pac-12 schools in media distributions around $9.8 million per school is according to the report, the interim report. And I was reading online a guy who's a Cal grad, and he was talking about, hey, this is not a slam dunk. And that, hey, he knows more about the system in California than I sure do. But it does appear as if there was a meeting, and they could all say they were there, or they said what they needed to say. But at the same time, nothing you would think will come out of this as well. UCLA and USC are headed to the Big Ten.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's hard to, from the outside looking in, really care or feel like we should care too much when the guy who was the, I guess, force behind getting this meeting called doesn't even feel like he needs to show up for it. Like, he was the reason. Remember a couple weeks ago, it was like, Gavin Newsom says that he's not happy and he might do something about it. Like, that was the word out west, and we're like, okay, well, I don't know if he can really do anything or not because, we've seen politicians try to get involved to some level of success and other times to, for really nothing ends up happening in the end. So I just took that as like, okay, cool, if Gavin Newsom wants to get involved, but it was this big thing, and then, here we are, and he doesn't even show up. So how big of a deal was it really, and how much can they really do or change? I've seen, some people that are in that loop commenting that they're just, basically rattling the cages a little bit. They might shake some money out of their pockets and at least give them I think it was somebody put it like a little talking to. Like, you just got to admonish somebody, briefly. Perhaps that's what they're doing. Perhaps there's something more to it. And if there is, then, I'm sure the people out there that are connected can let us know. But, yeah, it seems like a big ball of nothing. It would be a little bit, I think, higher on the scale of importance if Newsom had actually showed up. I mean, that's, again, the guy who kind of got this ball rolling. So without his influence or self even being there, I don't know how serious we need to take the threat of, the Cal system putting a stop to anything.
It was okay. We had a meeting, and we all got to say what we wanted to say. And, again, I'm not trying to be flippant about it, but that appears to be what happened. The same thing happened at Austin. Now, the Rangers